Some rooms are built for power. That morning, the boardroom at Stratos' design firm was one of them, a cathedral of ambition, echoing with the scrape of polished shoes and laughter too practiced to be true. Sunlight refracted off glass walls and silver watches. Men in sharp suits jostled for attention, while women in tailored blazers fixed their faces into measured calm. At the head of the table, the CEO stood, face flushed with an anger so raw it left the air heavy and brittle. On the lacquered oak table before him gleamed the model of their new $200 million headquarters, a labyrinth of light, steel, and curved glass that had already set the city abuzz. "This can't be his work," the CEO spat, stabbing a finger toward the architect at his right. The model was too human, too warm, too alive. "Bring me the real architect," he barked, the words hanging like a gauntlet in the charged stillness. Silence fell so complete that you could hear the clock tick, the hum of the AC, the faint drip of coffee into a forgotten cup. In that hush, no one noticed the woman in blue overalls at the back of the room, her mop stilled mid-swipe. Until she did what no one expected, she raised her hand. It trembled, but it did not fall. For a breathless moment, the room was caught in the balance, 1,000 futures resting on that simple gesture. Her name was Elena Thompson. For 6 years, she had worked at Stratos, but her name was not typed on any design memo or project email. She was the evening janitor, the one who swept the traces of power from the boardroom floor, emptied bins, mopped away the residue of 100 coffee-fueled debates. Most never bothered to ask her name, most never looked her in the eye. But inside Elena, dreams glimmered quietly, undimmed by years of erasure. Once, she had stood at the top of her class at one of the nation's best architecture schools. Her hands, now raw from solvents and scrubbing, had once conjured visions of sanctuaries, towers, and homes lit by the soft mathematics of hope. She had loved steel and light, learning the way others learn a mother tongue. But life, as it does, intervened. 10 years ago, her younger brother fell gravely ill. Tuition became an unaffordable luxury. She left school to work double shifts, her future exchanged for his. One by one, her dreams slipped into the margins of her life, but she never surrendered them completely. At Stratos, there was solace in the after-hours quiet. When the world shrank to the soft whir of vacuums and the hush of empty halls, Elena wandered the studios, pausing at the architect's scattered blueprints and unfinished sketches. Sometimes she would photograph a forgotten draft, reimagining it later at her tiny kitchen table, coaxing new shapes and solutions in the dim light, her hands moving over paper until exhaustion finally called her to sleep. She kept her designs in a battered leather portfolio, locked away beneath her bed, a secret archive of all the structures she'd built in her mind, if not in the world. Sometimes she would see small errors in the plans, a misplaced column, an angle that killed the light. Once, as she vacuumed near Marcus Green's cubicle, she saw his renderings glowing on the screen. She hesitated, then scribbled a quiet suggestion on a sticky note and left it anonymously. The next day, she watched Marcus implement her change. After that, it became a silent pattern. Elena's small corrections, Marcus's quiet awe at the office ghost, improving his work. He never suspected the janitor who nodded shyly in the elevator was the one nudging his career forward, one subtle suggestion at a time. Months slid by, Elena's invisible fingerprints shaping projects from behind a mask of anonymity. Then came the biggest commission in the firm's history, a new headquarters, a structure to define the company's legacy. Marcus was handed the pitch and panic gnawed at him. He was good, but not that good, and he knew it. One night, the office empty and the city beyond the windows asleep, Marcus whispered into the echoing hallway, "Whoever you are, help me again." From the shadows, Elena stepped forward. Her hands fidgeted with the hem of her overalls as she offered Marcus her sketchbook, pages crowded with buildings dreamed in charcoal and ink, every line trembling with years of hope denied but not extinguished. Marcus didn't know whether to feel ashamed, surprised, or grateful. But as he flipped through page after page, his pride dissolved into awe. He knew he could never design like this. From that night, an unspoken partnership formed. She designed, he refined, he presented. He gave her access to the design software, and she poured her soul into the digital blueprints after her cleaning shifts, working until dawn, the click of keys punctuating the silence. Together, they built something neither could have achieved. Alone. A design that breathed with life and possibility. A building that didn't just rise from the ground but invited the community in. It was architecture as hope, every curve and beam a testament to what could be built from hardship and imagination. The day of the final pitch arrived, and the room buzzed with anticipation. When Marcus revealed their concept, a sustainable headquarters, full of light, community spaces, and locally sourced materials, the applause was thunderous. Executives called it revolutionary, investors, visionary. The media caught wind and stories flew. But as Marcus accepted the congratulations, the praise felt hollow. He tried to tell the truth, that he hadn't done it alone. It was a team effort, the board replied, brushing his discomfort aside. At the public unveiling, with clients, journalists, and even the mayor in attendance, the CEO gripped Marcus's hand and turned to the audience. "We are proud of this design, but something doesn't add up. I've known Marcus for years. Forgive me, son, but this is beyond you. So I'll ask again, in front of everyone. Bring me the real architect." A ripple of shock swept the room. At the back, half hidden in her worn uniform, mop still in hand, Elena took a breath that seemed to draw in every trembling hope she'd ever held. She raised her hand. Some gasped. Others laughed nervously, certain it was a joke. The CEO's gaze hardened. "Who are you?" Elena stepped forward. Her spine straightened, but her heart pounded so loudly she thought the whole room could hear it. "My name is Elena Thompson," she said. "I'm the janitor here, but I'm also the one who designed this building." Disbelief hung in the air, sharp as broken glass. Marcus moved to her side. "It's true," he said, voice steady. "Everything you see in that model, those were her ideas. I just helped translate them onto the computer. She's been designing at night while we all sleep." For a long moment, no one spoke. Then quietly, the CEO asked to see her work. Elena reached into her bag, her hands shaking, and drew out her old portfolio. She laid it on the table. The pages turned, one after another, schools shaped like open arms, homes that caught the morning light, community centers crowned with rooftop gardens. There were stories in every line, stories of someone who had suffered but still believed beauty was worth fighting for. The CEO sat back, awe softening the hard lines of his face. "You design with feeling," he said quietly, "with purpose." Elena nodded. "I've cleaned enough corners to know where the light should fall. I've walked through empty offices and learned what makes a space feel alive. I've had to let go of dreams before, but not anymore." They offered her a job on the spot, but Elena asked for more. She wanted to lead a team, to mentor others who had been overlooked, to create internships for people without privilege, to bring design back to those who had been told not to dream. 6 months later, the Thompson Design Division opened, with Elena at the helm and Marcus as her partner. The headquarters rose from the city's heart, not just as a beautiful structure, but as a living symbol of what can happen when someone's hidden light is finally seen. On opening day, the mayor cut the ribbon and spoke. "This space was made by someone who understands people, not just blueprints. And that," he said, glancing at Elena, "is what true architecture is." Greatness doesn't always wear a suit. Sometimes it holds a mop. Sometimes the real architect is the one you never noticed. True genius doesn't need permission to shine. It just needs a chance. In that moment, Elena looked out at the crowd, her eyes shining with quiet pride. She thought of every night spent cleaning, every sketch drawn in secret, every kindness and every hardship that had built her piece by piece. She had designed a building, but more than that, she had reclaimed her story. And when the applause faded and the crowd spilled into the sunlit halls of the new headquarters, one quiet voice lingered, a reminder that sometimes the person who cleans up after your dreams is the one who knows how to build them too.